Alright, hello folks, welcome back to Fusion. On today's video we're gonna learn how to use parameters, how to do configurations, in essence how to do variables and control all of the dimensions of a sketch from just some parameters that we will denote. And our motivation to do this is the following one. Let me go here to this link. So we're gonna try and model a container. You know, they come in different sizes, mostly the same cross-sectional size, but you know the length is generally different. You can see it in here. So in essence we're gonna try and model this. We're gonna use a couple of parameters, so let's go back here to Fusion. So how do we do this? It's actually super straightforward. In fact, we can go directly in here to where it says modify, and in here there's a part where it says change parameters. But before I go here, let me show you something. Let me just do a real quick sketch to show you more or less how this works. And I'm just gonna do a quick, there we go, sketch. I'm gonna do a rectangle, you know, nothing special. I'll end up erasing this soon. Oh, it would be beneficial actually, before we do this, it would be beneficial to provide a dimension to everything. That is super important for today's video. Everything must have a dimension. That way we know which dimensions we are trying to reference, right? You'll see why in a moment. I'm just gonna do it like that, easy peasy rectangle. So I'll go here to where it says change parameters. Modify, change parameters. So let's go here. So you can see already that we got model parameters. If we go here to container 1, you can see that in sketch 1, we got like a sketch and the extrude, and you can see more or less what is going on in here. So let me just put this window over here. Let me just move the pan. There we go. So I don't know, let's instead of using 50, let me just do 70. So you see that gets longer. Instead of using 25, we can use 45. You know what I mean? And here we can even, this would be the taper angle. So let's go for 10 degrees. So this is like a control panel in here. And so we can reference every one of our dimensions from this beautiful table. And let's go here to user parameters, and I go here to plus. And I can enter a user parameter and I can call it length, right? Yeah, I can call it length, units millimeters, and we can make the length be 10. Okay, now let's enter another variable. We can call it width, as usual. Width can be 7, and then another one that is going to be called height, right? And we can make that 5. So now we can literally go in here, instead of typing 70, I can write length or user parameter. I can do the same thing in here. I can write width. And up here I can write, height. So you see how all of this has changed. Well, let me just click OK. So now we got all of our variables nice and steady over there. But our main purpose, I'm gonna just delete this, because I don't really need this. But now we got our free variables. So we're gonna go back here to modify, change parameters. We got them already well established there. Well, we didn't eliminate the sketch, so that's why we can still find them. But again, these might be handy because we need them for our design, and I'll need to find those values I just showed you there in Google. And actually I'm gonna create a couple more. I'll show you why afterwards. I'm just gonna call it length 2, and I'll make it the same than whatever that is in there. Let me see what are the cargo container dimensions. That way I can have more or less an idea of what numbers I'm using in here. Let me see. Give me one moment. Alright, so we're working in millimeters, and I won't change that because I like millimeters. Well, maybe we could go for meters, you know what? And I'll make the value be, but it seems that the standard length is 12.19. Leave it like that. Then I'm gonna add another one that's called width 2. Also in meters. Oh no, that is inches. Meters. Oh, I'm not selecting correctly. The width is 2.44, and then I'm gonna add another one that's gonna call height, again in meters, and that's gonna be 2.59. Height 2. There we go. And now I just want to change these guys also. Oh, that should be meters. Well, let me see whether I can edit. I'm gonna delete that one and I'll add again length 2 and meters. There we go. 12.19. Yeah, so this is the tedious part. Then afterwards, this is gonna be nice and smooth. I'll leave that like that. 2.59 and this has to be 44. I apologize. With 2.59. You'll see why I'm using. I'm gonna use these guys, and then the 222s I'll leave them for afterwards. So for now, I'm just gonna use 3 parameters mainly to dominate the whole design of this thing. So let's get right away started. I'm gonna actually edit this sketch because why not? So we already got a rectangle in there. I'm actually gonna delete. There we go. So let's do a nice center rectangle that we're gonna. In fact, I'm gonna initially I'll make it a construction rectangle. I'm gonna leave it like that. And now we go here and we dimension, and in there we're gonna call that length. Yeah, we can go for length 1. And we just click enter. So that's what it does. And we're gonna do the same thing in here. We're gonna call that one width 1. Oh, 1. Yeah, nope. There we go. Yeah, so that's beginning to look more like a container. And let's see. So now it's the part where we are gonna begin modeling this thing. So actually, I think I'm gonna make all of this a regular rectangle. There we go. Let's bring it up. I'll make this line a construction line, the same with this one. Boom. I'm gonna bring it up by just because I wanna begin building up in layers. So I guess I can bring it up by, I don't know, height over, I don't know, 12. How big would that be? Alright, that seems reasonable. And then I got like all different pieces that I'll be working on afterwards. And now we got it. Now when we do, I'm gonna do a sketch in here. And just I'll probably mute myself for the remaining part of the video, but all I'm gonna say is that whenever I'm not dimensioning something or respect a variable, that is gonna be fixed. So that means we won't be able to change it. We can change it afterwards, but not now. That is just something I just want you guys to have in mind while I'm doing this. So yeah, so with that being said, yeah, I'll probably proceed from now onwards in mute, and I'll probably fast forward all of this modeling part aspects that I'll be working on right now. Well, alright folks, here we go. We got our container basically done. I think what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna do a couple of mates, of joints actually. Looks pretty cool, right? And then when I'm done doing those joints, I'm gonna show you how, hopefully, when I change the parameters up there, hopefully this guy should be able to change as well. First, let's go here to, sorry, assemble. We're gonna do a couple of rigid groups. And the rigid groups I'm gonna do is with that guy. Alright, so now these little guys are part of this. I'm gonna do a rigid group between the door and these guys. So let me do... A rigid group is really that they are like the same entity, even though they are different components. Oh, voila! Look at that! Let's do the same thing here with the door. Let's build joint between... It doesn't matter. Let's make a revolute. Oh, no. And so we don't really need so many joints. Look at that. It's just moving nice and steady. Our doors are open. Let me just do a quick I'm gonna right click in here and we're gonna edit joint limits. So we wanna say a minimum of 0, right? And a maximum of 85. Let's see. There we go. So this is the rest position I'd like to... Oh, God. What has just happened? Now let me see. Edit limits. A minimum of 0, maximum of 85. Yeah, that is what I'm gonna say. And the same with this one. Joint limits, minimum of 0, maximum of 85. Just right. Yeah, let's see whether... Oh, so well, this guy, it should be the other way around. Alright, there we go, folks. So we got it done. This is our final assembly. I'll hopefully be uploading this into the Fusion library so you guys can see and play more around with this. I'm gonna save this. And now it's the moment of truth. Now I'm gonna go over to parameters. I'm gonna change them, and since basically every single dimension of this sketch has been referenced using parameters, I'm gonna leave this box here. Let's see what happens when, instead of making it 12.19, I make it, I'm still leaving the 19, I'll make it 15. Does it actually become longer? Let's see, okay. So it's gonna take a while to compute, but because there's so much stuff going on in here. That's why it's useful to use parameters, because otherwise imagine redoing all of this again just for a longer length, right? So let's see, give it a moment. Thankfully we saved in case the computer crashes, but it's taking just a while for everything to load, to regenerate, given how computationally expensive this is. Well, you see that it seems I did like a mistake in here since well, I didn't really reference it correctly, so this is kind of an epic fail that I've done in here. So maybe let me just revert back to the original configuration. Well, that is very sad, what I have to say in here. Nonetheless, that doesn't mean we can do a new design, because I wanted to show you something cool. Maybe I can do it real quick in here with a couple of circles and whatnot. Let me create a circle just like that. Yeah, let's dimension that by 150. That's okay. Let me just leave it in 10. Let me do a quick construction line that comes like that. Do a quick circle, just like that. I'm just gonna provide all of those dimensions, and I'm gonna extrude that upwards by a tiny bit, by 10. So now let me just create a couple of parameters in here, and I'm gonna first user parameters are called dia1. I'll make that 150. dia2, I'll make that 50. Oh. Then R, which will be the radius from here to the center, I'll make that be also 50 for now. Right. I don't know why I do not. Right. Yeah. And let's say H1, I'll make that 25, and then H2, and I'll make that also 25. Right, so now we can go over to our parameters and say, alright, I'm gonna make that be dia1. This is what I've shown you on the first video that I've done. And then the extrude, that's gonna be H1. Then the 4, I believe that's gonna be Ra. And this guy is gonna be dia2. I mean, that, like, the whole point of this video was to do this thing with the container, but well, that sadly failed. But it's still a nice container that you can use to learn. And this guy, I'm gonna make it be H2. Alright, so easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So now, like, the main point that I want to show you is, like, let's suppose you want to have multiple of these guys in like some sort of Excel sheet, which if you go over to SolidWorks, that would be called configurations. And how do you do configurations? That's super easy. You would need to, well, I found in YouTube and also online a great add-in that you can add here to Fusion. Let me see where I can find it. Here we go. It's called, I'll of course put this link there in the YouTube video afterwards. It's called Sheeter. You just need to download and then follow the instructions, which I will also put in the YouTube description below. So then you go over here to Tools, and I got it right here. So I'm gonna say Zinc with Google Sheet. No space, yeah, alright, okay. Hit authorize, okay. Because it's actually my first time using the software, so hopefully this is gonna take me over to my Gmail, which is connected up there. Let me just sign in real quick. Well, alright folks, welcome back again. So it turns out that I didn't restart Fusion as I had to do. That was because That was the reason why this guy wasn't working really. So now we go over to Chrome. Now here, now you can see our sheets has been created, and this has been like something automatic. And I'm gonna show you something super cool about this. First, a nice introduction to this. Yeah, don't worry. So I can here say description. I'm gonna call it. I'll call it by letter. So A, B, Z, and D, right? I don't want that one to be called description. And here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna copy the exact same values. So here we're gonna have 4 different configurations of the exact same thing, and it's gonna be nuts. You'll see in a moment. Just let me just copy those. The sheets is loading. And one thing I should mention here, and that was the reason why on the previous container design I had n1 and n2 like variables with like 2 numbers, was because I wanted to use the power of Google Sheets to do stuff like if statements or or rounding numbers, those sort of things, using more discrete mathematics instead of continuous mathematics. Possibilities are endless, in other words. So hopefully you guys will be able to explore this with hopefully with a design that is less design intensive than mine. Maybe my content was a little bit ambitious. I'm gonna say, alright, I'm gonna bring that to 300 for you guys to see the difference, right? 500, 1000. Diameter, I'm gonna leave it at. I'll make it even smaller. I'll make it 10, 100, right? And then, oh, I didn't, yeah, I'm just using 1, right? And then H1, I'll make it like that. I'll make that 10. I'll make that 35. I'll make that 50. And I'll also increase this guy by 100, 200. It's just right about the corner. 300. And we can also, you guys to see nicely the differences. And then for display, let's explore these tabs. Yeah, that doesn't really appear much in here. Features, you can see whether you want to unsuppress or suppress one of these guys. I'm gonna copy the same thing in here, and I'm gonna create a configuration E. Oh, let me go back to parameter, and I'll call this one E. I'll bring like a couple of numbers here. Oh no, let's go up to feature. There we go. Oh. And let's say I want to suppress this, right? I'm not sure whether this would be the correct way of writing it now, but we can try. You can explore the syntax. So in here, like, we got a nice, good old configuration. So now we go over to Fusion. We go up to Sheeter, and here you can say, all right, change display, right? So you can choose which one of the, let's see, let's see, hold on, where is it change size? Oh, there we go, it was change size. So let's see what B looks like. So it's much bigger. Let's see number C, or letter C really, D, and what about E? Alright, it did disappear. So that's how you can bring in, this is a beautiful add-in, that's how you can bring sheets into Fusion, which is something that has been well incorporated into SolidWorks. Sadly, it's lacking here in Fusion, but thankfully, given this add-in, it's possible to do that. So, well, I hope you learned a lot. At least you know how to design a container now, even though that didn't work with the configurations, but you can see the power of using these parameters and those sheets in here. So, well, until next time, bye bye.